live on YouTube. Yes. And live on Twitch.
Cool. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Last Place Fire Team Show. I don't know. I was like ready, but not ready. My name is Alan, and tonight we have a jam-packed show for you guys. We're going to be talking about multiple different things. We're going to be talking about Xbox, Nintendo Direct, Netflix buying its first gaming studio, and Spider-Man having the possibility of being multiplayer. So before we get into that, we're going to start the show the same way we always do and ask the guys how they're doing. Here are my fellow co-hosts. We got Yendi. How you doing, man?
Hello, everybody, and welcome YouTube to the live scene. Welcome. Doing good.
Yeah. We got YouTube for the first time, guys. So if you guys welcome the YouTube crowd, and if you guys are on Twitch and want to go over to YouTube to watch it there, you can now. And so yeah, Yendi, what have you been playing, man? What's going on? I know you got an exciting game drop for you today.
Oh man, yeah, New World came out today. I played the beta for a little bit. I liked what I saw. I only played just a tiny bit just to see like what the initial grind would be and what kind of the gameplay mechanics. And I played just enough to see that I was gonna like it. Sure enough, I started playing today and I played easily 3 hours without even knowing it. It's pretty much exactly what I've been looking for. Just something that I can just come in and play an hour, or if I wanted to, I could play for 10 hours after work, or an hour before work, and just grind. And it's a new world, pun intended. It's beautiful. Everything is brand new. It's not my first, but like one of my first MMOs that I'm actually going to dive into.
Major.
So it's very exciting because everything's brand new for me, and I love it. I love it so far. So yeah.
Nice. That's good to hear. And Chris, how you doing? What have you been playing lately?
I'm doing all right, man. I've been playing Kena, Bridge of Spirits, quite a bit. I'm still on that. But also FIFA came out for me yesterday, and I've been playing the crap out of that. I played my first online match and realized I got a lot of work to do. So I've been working on my skills, enjoying that. And I will actually be getting New World and trying it this weekend. Because at first I was nervous about it. But seeing Yendi stream today made it look a lot better, and I kind of like the fighting. The way the fighting is going in the game seems like it would be fun for me. So I'll be trying that out. Other than that, I just keep adding stuff to my watch list too. I'm trying to watch TV, and that new game or that new show that everybody's going nuts over, the Squid Games or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yes, I want to watch that really bad. I'm very interested, so I'll probably be catching that this weekend. And then starting my Halloween esque movie run. So we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, October's coming, as you can see, my favorite time of the month is that. So I get that watching. I have a horror list also for the 30 days. If you guys want to watch those, let me know. I can send it over to you guys. But it's all horror movies, so I don't know if you guys are into that. But for me, I've been playing. I finished beating Psychonauts 2 finally. The game was phenomenal. I enjoyed every minute of it. The story was amazing. Having that small team come back and do what they did with the resources they had now was really good touch. I think it was about 15 hours to beat or something like that. So it wasn't terrible. It's not super long, so it's definitely a game if you want to check out if you like platformers with a cool story, 3D platformers. That's pretty much what it is. You solve some puzzles, things like that, but the game is super trippy, and I enjoyed it a lot. Been playing Apex. I finally finished the Battle Pass, so I can take a little break from Apex and not have to grind it out every day, but I've been enjoying myself on that as always. So before we get into the stories, though, we're going to do a little housekeeping. We have our latest video on YouTube, which is Chris and I talking about LPF Debrief, where we are talking about Thor, and we also did Star Wars Vision. So go check both those videos out when you get a chance. Hit the like, share, do all that good stuff. This week, we also have another 2 video drop because this week we're going to be doing What If, which is going to be if Vision gets if Ultron won and he somehow gets all the Infinity Stones.
From
So
what I heard, it's a continuation from the last episode.
yeah, so that
So
should be interesting to see. And then we also have Venom this week. So Chris and I will be dropping both of those sometime this week. LP, what you call it?
LPF debrief.
Blanked LPF debrief. The What If episode would probably drop on Thursday, like it always does, and then the Venom episode would be either Friday or Saturday. So we will keep you guys in touch with that. Turn on your notifications, and you'll know exactly when they drop. Actually,
Ding that bell.
And then also, speaking of ding that bell, we are still doing our mouse giveaway of the Steel Series 3 wireless once we hit 100 YouTube subs. So as soon as we hit that, Yendi will give you guys the instructions on how to join and all that good stuff. And then we will be giving that away to a random person. So also
only 29 left. 29 subs for somebody to get a free mouse, people.
Exactly. Tell a friend, do what you need to do so we can give away that mouse and start giving away some other stuff. And then also, if you guys want to be a guest on the show, you just contact one of us, let us know, hit us up on the email, Twitter, any other social medias. By this time, you probably got to know all of them. And if you don't, we have them in all the links anyway. So now let's get into our show where we're going to be talking about some gaming stuff. Today's been not today, but this week has been a crazy week of game releases and things like that. And one of the major releases and things like that has been from Xbox, where they've done a multitude of things. But one of the things that they did was they actually added a new Edge browser to the Xbox that can play Stadia games and access Discord. So getting to this story from The Verge by Tom Warren, it says the Xbox now has a modern web browser. Microsoft is rolling out a new Xbox dashboard that includes updated version of Edge browser. After 6 months of testing, the Chromium version of Edge is now available to existing Xbox One and Series S and X, and the new capabilities allows owners to stream Google Stadia and access Discord on the web and lots more. The Xbox version of Edge looks almost identical to the version available on PC or Mac. It even includes features like vertical tabs and collections like Edge on PC and mobile. The Xbox version also syncs all your settings, favorite tabs, and web history. The only feature it is missing is extensions and the ability to switch into develop mode to alter user agent strings or access consoles. So pretty much Xbox has added is pretty much having a PC browser on their thing. And I was wondering, Yendi, how do you guys feel about that? How do you feel about Xbox getting a browser that is with the times, that allows you to even stream games like from Stadia if you have that and things like that?
I think it's awesome. I know they've always had browsers for a while, but this one is a Chromium branch, which is essentially just Google Chrome, but it's Microsoft's take on it, which is open source. Which is more powerful and can do hardware acceleration now too, which is what allows Stadia to run. But the one thing that's always kept me away from those browsers is how user unfriendly it is. Right? It's a pain in the ass to navigate using a controller. It just sucks. It sucks to do. But there was a time where I had to use that as my main browser, right? And it worked. It worked fine for everything I was trying to do. But now having an even more powerful browser directly on your console, that's awesome. That you're able to do stuff like access Discord and do Stadia, and who knows what other stuff you can do. But I think it's a great thing. Yeah, they're going in the right direction with this for sure.
Yeah, and also this Edge actually allows you to use mouse and keyboard support. So you can actually plug in your mouse and keyboard and still use Edge, and you can even play the Stadia games with it. So like you said, I think that's a pretty amazing idea, and actually crazy that they got it to roll out. And I guess with now having a stronger console, even though this is going to go back on Xbox One, which I'm interested to see how that would work, but now having the access to stronger consoles and being able to do, I think that's pretty amazing. Chris, what are your thoughts on it?
I also think it's pretty dope. I don't know how it's gonna be with Discord, especially with the whole Sony thing going on. Did that actually go through?
Yes, but it's not. Sony's not in control of Discord. Discord
Yeah, it's just
still has, but also it's going to be. It's not an app, so it's not. It might not be like perfectly integrated. It's not going to be perfectly integrated with Xbox. It's just going to be as if you were accessing it from your computer.
Oh, and then going on.
Yeah,
Okay.
not
Well,
the app of Discord.
yeah, I think it's gonna work out great. Because essentially these consoles, they're computers now, so it's not they're able to keep up with what they need. And like Yendi said, I whenever I had a PS3, I remember trying to pull up anime and stuff like that on the web on the PS3 stuff, and it would not it would be buggy, slow down, everything like that, depending on what you were trying to pull up. But the Stadia thing, I don't know how I feel about that, because Stadia is, I mean, if you're opening up a web browser on your Xbox, right, you don't really need Stadia. And then if you're like, oh, I need to stream to Stadia is able to go with you on your phone and stuff like that, well, then you got xCloud. So it's like, so whenever they're like, oh yeah, Stadia is able to play, I was like, well, that's kind of destroys the point of having Stadia to me. But I think it's gonna be cool.
So
Yeah. I think it's gonna be cool to be able to they'll be able to work out different things, and new things will be able to come from it. So definitely a step in the right direction. Can't wait to see what else they have in store, because Xbox, even though they do a small rollout, there's always something big behind that rollout. So I'm waiting to see what's gonna happen with that. Like why now? Why is this here? And what's the actual plan for it? So
yeah, and most people have been asking for stronger browsers and stuff like that. So the fact that they're listening, because Sony doesn't have a browser, and I know a lot of people love the browser from 4. At least just having, it's more of a what's the thing? The word I'm looking. It's more of the convenience, right? So like if I wanted to search something, especially now with like quick resume and things like that, you can pretty much go to another, go outside your Xbox, look up something real quick of a game, watch it on your TV, and then go back to your Xbox, because quick resume really starts your game just like that. So I think that's a really cool feature that people are looking forward to. The only thing that one of the negatives of this browser though is the fact that if you do have Discord, you can join calls and you can also participate in text chats. The only thing it doesn't recognize is microphone support. So technically you can listen to people. I'm sure you can watch people stream, but you won't be able to talk, because not as of right now, the microphone support isn't available. So I think it's still a cool idea, because I know some people some people stream in Discord, and people will be able to watch people stream from there. And I think it's a really cool idea. It's a step forward for these internet browsers. And like you said, they're pretty much computers now. So the fact that they have the capability now of doing these things, I think it's a step in the right direction. Another thing that's kind of a negative so far, because you can also access your Steam PC games from your web browser. The only thing that this NVIDIA is actually still blocking access to GeForce Now streaming service through Edge. So, and they've asked NVIDIA multiple times why it continues to block Edge in general, but the company only said in April that it's simply investigating Edge browser support for the future. So my next question is for you guys is, will NVIDIA crack on this and allow G Now on it? Or is this something kind of like they're kind of hating on the sidelines? So Chris, what do you think? Because I didn't know that GeForce Now wasn't available on, because I mean, I'll be honest, I don't use Edge. I don't think anyone I know uses Edge, but I didn't think that there was a reason to like block access to like a particular internet browser. So I'm wondering what's going on there. I want to look more into it, but do you think there's some a little beef there?
I don't think it's beef. I just think it's like they're kind of like, I think NVIDIA would be happy to work with Microsoft, but they need to talk to them first. It's just like, oh, like I like what Microsoft's doing, and then they like tiptoe and they're like, hold on, what you doing? What are you trying to? What are you trying? It's like
this has been a thing for a while though. Because
for a while. Okay, gotcha.
It's like Edge itself, like even on your computer, cannot access in GeForce Now. So
maybe then
it's something that's particular to Edge that NVIDIA's blocking it, not Microsoft.
Yeah, I think maybe just NVIDIA just wants it to be an exclusive thing to their thing, and they don't want it to get exploited or anything like that. Like they don't want people, or if they want people to be able to get it through them. So basically, it's just one funnel. They're like, hey, if you want this feature, you got to come to us. So I mean, I don't see how much longer they'll keep that. Maybe they'll hold on to it until, and maybe somebody will want to pay for it and buy it from them and be like, hey, can we have access? And they're like, yeah, here, sure. But yeah, until then, I'm sure they're gonna keep it in their back pocket and they'll maybe use it for later. Maybe it's just like a storage area where it's just like, hey, we'll come back to this eventually and we'll use it for something else. So yeah, unless Steam and them, put it on the Steam Deck.
What chip is in the next gen consoles? Are they AMDs?
They are, yes.
That's what it is. I'm calling it now. They're like, yo, you guys didn't come to us? You didn't come to us? That's what it is. Yendi, what are your thoughts on that?
So to answer Chris's question from before this, the reason they added this to the Xbox is because the Windows version of Edge was also updated to the Chromium branch, and they're trying to have both in sync because the older Edge browser is running on a really old, old engine, right? And the reason they decided to upgrade is because they're now more in line with what people are asking, like websites are asking of browsers as far as features and speed, reliability, stuff like that. And then now that Edge and Chrome are pretty much the same thing, just a different branch. I think before the reason GeForce Now had it listed as an unsupported device was because it was running on the old Edge engine. But now that it's running on Chromium, I think that it's just a matter of time before they allow it again. It's just, I bet you they just haven't got the time to update it, or they're taking their sweet time. But they will be losing money eventually because you're able to play up to a certain amount of time for free with GeForce Now, and then I think they have another option where you pay like a yearly or monthly price to play for extended periods. So they'd be losing out on money there. That'd be just dumb of them. I think you're limited to like an hour on the free version. So either way, people are still seeing your product and playing your games. So it'd be silly not to see membership being available on the Xbox browser soon. I bet you it's gonna happen any second now. So.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Just like with everything you said, I was just pretty much being, the troll trying to find things in the background. But it wouldn't be smart. Like Nvidia needs to allow this just because you're closing a section of your market, especially now. More people will be inclined to get it because if I can run it from my Xbox, you're opening yourself up to so much more of a possibility for people to get into your service. So I think soon enough, especially now, I think they're looking at all this stuff and going, okay, well, now it's going to be time for an update so we can get this ball rolling and then open up that section of the market. We're going to stick with Xbox because, like I said, a lot of things happened with them today. I mean, within this last week. Microsoft actually brought in Dolby Vision and this is the first console that is going to support Dolby Vision. And Dolby Vision pretty much gives you like brighter highlights, sharper contrast, and more vibrant colors and things like that. If you guys ever went to a Dolby theater and watched a movie in Dolby, you would notice like they have that whole section where they're like, this is Dolby Black because everything is a lot more crisp and clear. And today was the first day that they allowed, they not allowed, but the first day that Dolby was something, that Dolby Vision is going to a console. So I wanted to know what your guys' thoughts on that was. There's 10 games that actually support it, which kind of, as long as your TV has Dolby Vision, then you will also be able to have it. But the 10 games that they have right now, Microsoft, they have F1 2021, Psychonauts 2, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Gears 5, Borderlands 3, Phoenix Rising, Guardians of the Galaxy, which is not out yet, Call of Duty Black Ops, Dirt, Metro, all support Dolby Vision. So my question for you guys is, with all this, my question basically is, with all these things happening, is this making all these things and advancements that Xbox are making, does this make you more inclined to want to get an Xbox?
I don't think so. No, I mean, like, I'm in it. Like, it's just kind of an add. Don't you have to you pay for Dolby Vision, right? Isn't it a paid
No,
thing?
it just automatically added to your thing. You just have to unlock the
I think I'm thinking of
you have to
Atmos
hit the
thing.
check. Atmos is what you pay
Okay,
for. Yeah.
Atmos is what you pay for. Okay. I mean, it's kind of an added plus, but if you don't have a TV that'll support it, I mean, it's not, which a lot of people don't right now. I mean, I was fortunate enough to get one, get a TV that would handle the new gen stuff. Right now, my PlayStation. But yeah, just for a feature, I don't think it would be enough for me to be like, oh my god, I got to go get an Xbox. It's definitely, excuse me, it's definitely always going to be the games that will pull me towards it, or the convenience, basically. So I've been looking at an Xbox for Game Pass to play in the living room and just have it in there and just be a Game Pass machine. So it's just a nice added plus. I mean, for the most part, I will have to check if my TV even has. It should, but I probably don't even have it downloaded. So I mean, I can tell a difference in theaters and stuff whenever I go to a theater and I see the Dolby experience. But if at home, like, I can't recreate that. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard. They can be like, oh yeah, it's on, and it's like, great. I don't really see it, but all right. So
Whatever you're watching also has to have Dolby Vision. So it's pretty much something that it's like a feature that's like like for instance, you can have Dolby Vision on, and if your game doesn't support Dolby Vision, then it won't work.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens whenever it actually releases. But for the most part, a lot of these people are playing multiplayer games. It's gonna be great for the people that are playing single player games and they're looking for quality. Just like, and for those people, they probably already have a nice sound system set up. They're playing on their big TVs and they're just ready to get lost in the worlds that they're gonna be joining. And yeah, for the most part, I think whenever you said Dirt. I was like, okay, that'd be kind of cool to get, like, to feel like that's a game that I would want to see, like, in the best quality ever and go through. But yeah, it's not. But for your question, no, I wouldn't buy an Xbox just for this feature. So it's just a nice sprinkle on top.
and Yendi, what about you?
Yeah, like Chris said, it's a nice sprinkle on top. And for those who don't know, Dolby Vision is an HDR format similar to HDR10 from Samsung and HLG. So basically, you can't see what Dolby Vision provides unless the content is recorded with Dolby Vision, right? So like the new iPhones have Dolby Vision video. I can take Dolby Vision video and then I can play it back on my phone and it'll show me all the true colors and everything like that. But if I send that file to a computer that doesn't have it, you don't get the full effect. You don't get the full contrast and dynamic range. But I think, do you guys remember when there was that war between Blu-ray and HD DVR? Is that what it was called?
Yes.
Or no.
Yeah.
Remember that? This is
HD DVD. Yeah.
HD DVD. Yep. There's a war between that, and then eventually Blu-ray won out. This is pretty much what's happening here. There's a bunch of formats trying to fight out for supremacy. Right now, I think the leader is HLG. That's where most people use it, and I think that's like TV broadcasts and stuff like that. So I think right now they're kind of fighting for that standard format right now because there's a few different ones out there, and I think Dolby is trying to push to get as many devices that support Dolby Vision, right? And that's just playback, like the Xbox and playback Dolby Vision. Your TVs, most TVs nowadays will have that included, but they have to pay a licensing fee in order to have that feature. But I think it's a great extra to have, but like Chris said, it's just a nice little sprinkle on top. It wouldn't get me to personally buy an Xbox, but when I look at the bullet points side by side with the PlayStation, Xbox has it, PlayStation doesn't. So, that could sway somebody.
No, you'll be able to. Well, I mean, in the future, you'll be able to open the side of your PS5, and they're gonna want you to install it yourself. There's a hidden compartment somewhere on the PS5.
You have to code it in.
They said put it on a USB stick, and then you're gonna plug it in. Yeah, there'll be a whole video on it. It'll be okay.
I feel like they're just gonna look back and be like, wait, what? And then just be like, yeah. You could totally do that, but we were blocking it, kind of like Nintendo was doing Bluetooth. They're just like, it's there already. No. We're waiting. We're waiting to see.
I still can't get over the how quickly people turn. Everybody's like, yeah, awesome, and then everybody's like, hold on, and then everybody's just like, hold on.
It's been there the whole time. It's been crazy. To answer pretty much the same questions. I agree with both you guys. I don't know if this will market people to want to go get an Xbox. I already personally have one because I have the Series S, which is super convenient. It's super small. It's the easiest console to use to travel with. So like when I go on vacation and something, if I want to play something, I'll just take it because it's literally the size of it's like this small. So it's a perfect console for my needs. I don't really need anything super strong for it. So, but it still has a lot of the features that the Series X does. It's just not as strong. But any of the games that I plan on playing that require heavy graphics are going to be on PC anyway, but I do have a Series S just for that. But I don't think this is yet still a console mover. Games are what move consoles, and I feel like this is, like you guys said, a sprinkle on top. It's not necessarily like something that's going to make people go buy it unless you're like, those video infinite like aficionados who are like, I gotta have the best quality for every single thing. And there are people out there. There is a market for people who want that kind of stuff. And Yendi points as himself, but there's people who want that kind of quality. So I think that targets them. But again, moving consoles always takes games. It's been proven. We've been going through this for years now. Games are what moves consoles, and that's just the end of the day. So,
and you can see Xbox as an example of this when they try to push the whole TV thing first.
Xbox One, I'm telling you, that's what killed that console. Like from the beginning, if you go back, it's so like I always talk about this, but if you go back and listen to that initial thing, you would notice that we literally went in that same exact direction. Regardless, it's just people weren't ready for it at that time, and then it all sounded crazy. But now we kind of expect all of those things from that original presentation.
The initial Xbox One idea was the Dreamcast of its time.
Yeah, exactly. It was just too far and nobody was ready for it. And that can happen. Like people could not be ready to consume the things that you brought, and maybe you're just too far ahead. So that's what happened with that. And I think that from that point on, Xbox One was doomed.
It's kind of like trying to convince me 5, 6, 7 years ago that I would go all digital games.
Yeah.
Nah, never get physical. Exactly. I would have said you're crazy.
Exactly. That and it's just much more space, much more convenient.
Yeah.
Now that I'm ready for it. So all right, we're gonna move on. There was a Nintendo Direct on September 23rd. We don't pretty much have a source. If you guys watched it, Nintendo had it up on their YouTube. I just have some questions for the guys. One of the big announcements that happened for Nintendo Direct was that they finally announced that you're going to be able to play some retro games on your Nintendo Direct and not your Nintendo Switch. And what they did, which was pretty interesting, and I didn't even think they were going to do, is they actually are adding it as an expansion towards your Nintendo Live subscription or Nintendo Switch Online, whatever you want to call it. So basically what they're doing is if you have the Switch Online, you can then purchase what they're saying is an expansion pack to get all of these games that they're releasing on their on their online service now. So you would have your regular online Nintendo, and then you would add the Nintendo 64 and Sega bundle to be able to play those online. So it's somewhat of a Game Pass kind of thing where it's going to be integrated with their Nintendo things. But they also said that they're releasing 2 controllers for it. You're going to have an N64 controller and a Sega Genesis controller. Both are going to be wireless, and their price point, I believe, is $39.99. They're also saying that all the 64 games that are going to be available will be able to be played 4-player like you were at the old time. So with that said, how do you guys feel about Nintendo having making their retro games kind of like a Xbox, like a Game Pass kind of thing where you can still play a bunch of these games? And they promised to add more games, but they had the heavy hitters like Mario 64. You can play Mario Kart 64. They said they haven't released a price point yet, but that will be coming later on in this month. So I wanted to know what your guys' thoughts was on that.
I think it's an awesome idea. I'm excited for it. However, I'm gonna wait and see what games they are gonna have, because Mario 64 I bought 3D All Stars for. There's gonna be some games that I want that probably won't get released due to licensing. So I would love to see GoldenEye or something on there. Gex, all that stuff. Like I want to see all those games, but obviously they're gonna do just like right now, the games that we get for free. There's maybe 3 of them that I'm like, oh yeah, cool, and I'm playing this for just maybe 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes. Other than that, I've been staying off of that online service for a while, but I think it's cool. I really like the N64 idea. I kind of want to get it and see if I can get it to work with 3D All Stars, so I can play Mario 64 on my 3D All Stars account. And we'll see where it goes from there. But hopefully they don't go for the cash grab. I hope it's not expensive. But we'll see. I can't even think of a price range for it right now. How many games are releasing?
Well, for right now, what is confirmed, the first batch is Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64, Yoshi's Story, Ocarina of Time, Win Back, Dr. Mario 64, Sin and Punishment, and Mario Tennis 64. They also said that other N64 classics confirmed to be coming to Switch Online Plus. After the initial batch would be Banjo-Kazooie, Pokemon Snap, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, Kirby 64, Mario Golf, Paper Mario, and F-Zero Racing.
Well, I will be probably getting it for the Legend of Zelda series. Because I never played Majora's Mask, and that has escaped me for the longest time. So,
and just bringing up what you said, what would be a good price point where you're like, that's going to be an automatic, I'm getting it? What range would you be looking at? Because I mean, you pay what, $14.99 for a Game Pass, so with a ton of games.
I mean, you can add. Okay, yeah, $14.99 for Game Pass.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go like $5, $5 to $10.
So you think
maybe less than $10? Yeah, $5 is a perfect. I think that's a perfect like add-on to this. Like, hey, like add it on for a little bit. You know, I think that's perfect. Don't go. They can't be in Game Pass area because we're getting new games with Game Pass. Mm-hmm. You're giving us retro games. Like, come on now. I get it. There's not going to be another place for us to play it, but don't hold that hostage. Keep it at $5 because I don't think that many people are going to buy it. Like, if it's more expensive, people aren't going to buy it. I don't think people will have it and keep it on there. So yeah, $5, and that seems very, out of field for Nintendo. But I'm hoping for the best.
We'll see. But Yandy, what do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's sacrilege to even compare Xbox Game Pass to anything Nintendo. These are old ass games that you're excited to play again, but there's nothing new about them, right? Mm-hmm. I was like, let me calm down. Calm down.
Old IP.
Don't calm down, Yandy.
No, if it's more than $5, like Chris said, I'll be pissed because right now I have the Nintendo NES and SNES library included with my yearly membership, which I pay
$20.
Is it 20
for a year?
Yeah,
for a year, which for me I was like, this is perfect. Like a year, $20 here, that's fine.
I think I pay every 3 months or monthly $3.99, something like that.
Oh wow.
But first of all, I'm surprised that they're charging for these games. I think this should be just an added bonus of having a Nintendo Online. If anything, raise the price by $5, have $25 a year, $30 at most. What this tells me is that they're going to have even more tiers for GameCube games that come out and Wii games that come out for this.
Well, they might get me. Yeah, I was like, oh, they could do a GameCube library.
I could easily see them charging up to like $50 to have the entire Nintendo collection on the Switch. And for those people who just constantly want to relive those old games, great for them. That's a lot of money to me. Even with online included, there's not much to do online with Nintendo Switch unless you're playing Smash all the time or Splatoons or whatever else multiplayer games they have. I have no idea why you would pay that much to play online monthly. But anyways, I mean, this is for those people who are diehard Nintendo fans, and they'll pay for it. They'll love it. They'll get everything they can out of it. But if it's more than $5, I think it's gonna be some BS.
I think the speed run community benefits from this. There's a lot of Nintendo games that are sped run, so I feel like those games
are patched.
Oh yeah, true.
The things about those games are patched out.
I
right?
doubt
Like,
they would. I doubt they would waste it.
No, 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 they
Nintendo
wouldn't do
would
it.
just
No, no.
release it as it. I mean, we'll see. We will see.
Yeah.
Because
But
no, for 3D All
the
Stars, I had a friend that did a glitch already. He did the old glitch. He's like, I wonder if
yeah,
this still works.
they
They just literally port the game.
they just port the game. They don't really care about all that other stuff.
Yeah.
The thing that I found interesting about this whole thing is that they are giving you the choice whether you want to get this or not, which is what I like personally. Because let's say I'm one of those people now. As I get older, I don't want to play the older games anymore. Just not because I don't love them, but because there's so many other games I haven't played that I've been wanting to get to that I haven't beaten or any of that stuff. So I'm trying to play those. And I think it's fine because now what happens is I can just have Nintendo Online and not have it tied into my gaming, like playing not having the price jump. It's like my choice if I want to have a price jump. So I think them doing that was a really cool idea because it doesn't force me to have this access to these other games that I'm probably not going to play. I mean, now if I get the urge to play it, then I can go and get the expansion for a month or whatever, play the games that I want to play, and then take it off. So I think that was one of the good things they did. I agree with you guys, though. I can't see it being more than $5. I mean, 10 at the most. I personally wouldn't pay 10 for it because then you're looking at $15, like you guys said, and I'm paying $14.99 for Game Pass. And there's hundreds of games on there that are new, old, indie that I want to play. So I don't think I would pay anything over $5, but I think $5 would be the perfect price point for them. I don't know if they're going to do that. We will see. We find out later on in October. They told us that in October we'll find out exactly what the price point is, and they said they're going to be adding some more games and things like that. They did say what some of the Sega games were going to be, and I'll just run over that list real quick. It's Castlevania Bloodlines,
Ooh.
Contra, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Echo the Dolphin, Golden Axe, Gunstar, Phantasy Star 4, Ristar, Shining Force, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Streets of Rage 2, Musha, Shinobi 3, and Strider. So they had there's some pretty good games on there. I will not deny that.
Yes, the Sega ones are pretty good.
They did come correct with some of the games. Obviously, I would have liked if all the Sonic games were on there, even though I own all the Sonic games. But it's always nice. Like, how could you have Sonic 2 and not have Sonic? Like for the newer kid, like for kids who are just playing some of these games for the first time, and you're just gonna be like, oh, here's Sonic 2.
Let me show you what Sonic used to look like, because these kids, man, they
know
the new
a
Sonics
brand new
are,
Sonic. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But this would be one of those things too that if it's not too expensive, you can get some of the kids with the Switch to get into those games, and the fact that you'll be able to play on the same screen with some of these N64 games is going to be a lot of fun. Because I mean, you can play Mario Kart 64, which one of the best. I think the best one's the Super Nintendo version. But that's a whole different story. We'll talk about that at some other time. But yeah, so that's I kind of answered you guys answered one of the questions I had there. So anyway, going into that, I wanted to know what your guys' favorite N64 and Genesis games were. What is your favorite games from both of those generations of all time? Just one game from each category. I'll start with Yendi if you're ready.
For the Genesis, it was a Sonic game. I can't remember exactly which one it was.
Just describe it. I probably got you.
I have no idea, man. That was a long time ago.
Probably Sonic 2 or something like that.
Maybe Sonic 2. Green
was
Hills
Tails
was in it.
Well, Green Hills,
bro. I was like, I don't know, young as hell.
But you remember if Tails was in it, because then that knocks out Sonic 1. If Tails was not in it, it's Sonic 1.
I'm gonna go with Yendi on that one too, because it's I remember having Tails and Sonic, and that was it.
Okay, so
I don't remember Tails at all, but I remember the Green Hills and beating Robotnik and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Green Hills is in most of the games.
So
bro. That doesn't narrow it down. But
there
anyways,
was
some Sonic game, and then for
the
N64, my answer would have been Ocarina of Time, but there was actually a racing game that I cannot remember the name of. It was really shitty, but it was a lot of fun at the time for little old me.
Was it Wave Racer?
No,
That game
and
was amazing.
Spy Hunter comes to mind, but it's not Spy Hunter.
Oh,
It was some racing game
Ooh.
where you had fuck, I can't remember, man.
Yeah.
You can't take me back this far.
Black
Have me
Magic said
remember this shit.
Aladdin.
Oh, you know what?
Aladdin was his favorite.
Oh,
Oh,
it was
Aladdin, yeah.
it was during when
Aladdin was great.
Final
So
Fantasy 10?
Bro, you're breaking
Ooh.
Yendi. He's struggling.
No.
Yeah, Yendi.
he's
Yeah.
he's
Final
stressing out.
Fantasy 10 was a PS2
No.
game, Yendi.
Then yeah, I don't know, man. It was a racing game. That's all I know.
What?
Yeah,
got you.
It was during that time is when I was playing it, but I'm sure the game came out way before that.
I'll go with my Yendi if you think of yours then. All right. For N64 is Pokemon Snap and Super Smash. I remember going into training in Super Smash and putting everything in slow motion and high speed and like for some reason knocking people with the beam sword and stuff was hilarious to me. And Pokemon Snap holds a very special place in my heart. I love that game a lot. For the Sega, right? Sonic. I didn't have one. My cousins had one. So Sonic, which I played, but there was a game, right? And it was called Michael Jackson Moonwalker. Yeah.
Moonwalker. I know Moonwalker.
Oh man.
Moonwalker was a
Pokemon
classic.
Stadium 2 is another good one. The second one. The first one, like the second one had the best mini games. I played a lot of the mini games. But yeah, Moonwalker was dope. Yendi, did you ever play it?
What is it, Moonwalker?
Yeah. Michael Jackson Moonwalker.
No.
Look it up, bro. Look it.
It
was so good.
A platforming style game with Michael Jackson, where when you beat the levels, he actually did like a dance for whatever song was in the background in the 8-bit version of the Michael Jackson song.
And you'd beat up people and stuff like that. And then like your special move, he would do like he would get everybody to do the lean, right? Everybody would lean, and then he'd snap, and then everybody would fall. And then you cleared that spot and you just kept going. Dude, I played the mess out of that game.
Never heard of it. Never heard of it.
All right. So for me, my favorite N64 game was actually Perfect Dark, which I'm actually happy about because Crystal Dynamics is actually going to work on a new game with Rare to make a new Perfect Dark game. So I've loved Perfect Dark. It was the first game that had the Rumble Pack for me. That it used to come with a Rumble Pack. It also used to it came with a memory extension because the game actually was too difficult for the Nintendo 64 to run. So you had to get like a little mini expansion thing for your RAM to put right in front of the console. It was great. And then my favorite Sega game was actually Sonic and Knuckles. And the reason why it was Sonic and Knuckles was because I'm sure Black Magic remembers this because we grew up playing these games. But basically, with Sonic and Knuckles, it actually had a piece where that it came up, and it actually had an additional cartridge slot, and you could put Sonic 3 and Sonic 2 in it. And if you did, you actually ended up you could play with Knuckles in Sonic 2 and 3. So it was one of the most amazing things back then. It used to blow my mind that you could do that, but if you put Sonic 2 in there, instead of Sonic showing up in the front like he does in Sonic 2 where it's him and Tails, Knuckles shows up. And then you see Knuckles, and then you can literally play the whole Sonic 2 as Knuckles with all of Knuckles' abilities.
That's crazy.
Amazing for its time back then that it was able to do that. Now that I think about it, it's such a funny thing that it was just like, man, something so simple. And then I would try other games, but none of the obviously. But back in the day, I thought, man, I could play with Knuckles in any game because it was just Sonic. He would just show up in these other games. So I thought it was a really, really cool.
This makes me kind of want to buy, because they do have Sonic 2 on there, right? But then they came out with Sonic Mania, and that has all of them, doesn't it? And that's like right now, that's been on my wish list. Nintendo's been hounding me about it. And it's just like, buy this game, and it's like it's down to like I think like $10 now.
It's
and you
great.
get the whole Sonic library.
Playing all the Sonics are really fun. I have all of them on Steam actually, and they're so fast.
Yeah,
long as you can just go in and you can beat those games in a good amount of time. Some of them are hard. I mean, Sega was known for having just hard games because Lion King, I don't know if you guys remember, that game was ridiculously hard back in the day. But yeah, so those are pretty much my two favorites. I have one more thing from Nintendo Direct. we finally saw a few new games from Nintendo Direct. We saw Bayonetta 3, and we also saw Splatoon 3 being released. And I was wondering which one of those two games were you guys excited about the most? And have you played any of them? What's so funny?
Go ahead, Chris.
Yendi's laughing because he's gonna say no. That's why.
One, you didn't mention Deltarune. Chapter 2 came out, and I heard that's actually impossible to beat.
Which I learned that Deltarune is Undertale backwards.
What?
It's a sequel to Undertale.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's Undertale backwards.
But the first one was released Chapter 1 was released a while ago. Also, you didn't put Kirby in there too. Kirby gets his first 3D adventure, and I thought that was cool. Yeah.
Any of those games you're excited for?
I'm excited for Kirby and Splatoon 3. Splatoon 3 specifically because, I got Bree into Splatoon 2. And that's going to be our game to play together. And that's the only game that she gets, that's the only gun shooting game that she gets really competitive in. And it's a lot of fun to play. Bayonetta, I never played the series, so I know all the fan people are excited to see the boobies on the screen and shoot pistols
Nintendo
at the heels. What?
Nintendo took those away. There's none of that.
You're gonna play this game for the art, damn it!
And it still looks fantastic. It still looks amazing.
But I'm most excited for this freaking. We should be where's the release date? I can't find it. But the Mario Party thing, man. I'm so excited for Mario Party. I already have some people wanting to live stream it. It's going to be a fun time, man. We're going to hurt a lot of feelings and a lot of friendships are going to get ruined, but it's going to be a great time. I can't wait for that. So, but on top or out of all of it, probably Splatoon 3 is going to be up there for me because, like I said, me and Bree just have that. It's just something we connect over, and it's a lot of fun. And I can't wait to play with her. And we're going to stream it together, actually. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Yendi, I kind of already know what your answer is. But go ahead and let the audience know that you're not excited for any of them.
There is nothing that has got me excited from Nintendo since Breath of the Wild.
The Mario movie?
No, fuck that. Everything from Nintendo that's come out ever since after Breath of the Wild has been mediocre at best. I am not excited for the Pokemon games. I am intrigued by them. Oh. I am sold, but I'm not excited. Not as excited as I would have been when the first 3D Pokemon game came out for the 3DS. Right? Or the Switch. But other than that, there's absolutely nothing.
No? You're not a Metroid fan? You don't like Metroid?
I've never played Metroid.
Okay.
Never.
I'm just going through the list real quick.
Go ahead.
What do you mean you've never played Metroid?
Never got around to it. It's
Why
one of those
not?
Games.
Oh, the Chocobo thing. What is that about? What is going on?
It's just some Chocobo stuff.
It's a racing game? Like, why?
Yeah, no one...
It's filler. It's filler. That's what Nintendo does best.
That's what Chocobos do. They race. I mean, in Final Fantasy VII, that's what.
Yeah, exactly but I'm literally looking at a picture of a Chocobo with roller skates and it has engines on it.
Yeah,
come on, man. I'm excited for not super excited. I'm happy they're putting Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic on Switch, and I think that's an awesome idea. Like that's a game small enough to be like, sweet, I can actually take this with me and hopefully it'll work on Switch fine, because I tried to play it on computer and I just don't want to sit here. Like I just want to lay in my bed and play it, and the only way
it should run fine.
Yeah,
the graphics are not that heavy.
Exactly. So I'm gonna go through that story before the remake comes out, and it should be pretty cool.
Yeah. For me, I'm excited for Bayonetta 3 because this was the first time we even got to see Bayonetta 3 in like 3 years after they announced it, and we just didn't hear from it, didn't see anything, no gameplay, no nothing. For
crazy.
Almost 3 years.
A lot of people thought it was going to be in the Prime boat where it's like
it was I'm supposed to come out like on release.
Yeah, I'm surprised we got Bayonetta 3 before Metroid Prime 4.
Oh, I'm not surprised about that at all, because once they gave us Dread, they were just like, "Here, Metroid fans, take this and leave us alone," because 4 is not coming out anytime soon, nor do we plan on coming out with 4. So they were just like, "Here, take this, be quiet." And most people are like, and from the early reviews, people are really enjoying Metroid Dread. So I'm excited to see it. I'm not going to buy it day one, but
No, I'm not either.
I might look at the reviews and see how good it is. And yeah, I'm super excited for Bayonetta because Bayonetta was one of those games that I randomly had picked up when I was working at GameStop. When I worked at GameStop, and I was just like, what is this game? And then I played Bayonetta and fell in love with the story, the character, everything about it. So that game's amazing. Check it out. That game's like $5 now. If you're into fast-paced shooting and all that crazy combo stuff, it's amazing. It's totally worth it. All right, we're gonna go into our. Oh,
wait! Before you leave Nintendo, I do want to tell Pokemon fans out there that they did release Pokemon videos today. I think it was.
Yeah.
And
videos,
the most important thing to take from that is that Scyther now has an evolution, which is a bug rock type, which looks badass. Cleaver is its name.
What?
Right?
Cleaver?
Yeah, look it up. Look it up. It looks pretty cool. It's one of those things that I liked right away, surprisingly.
Scyther being my favorite Pokemon, by the way.
Good choice. And Pokemon Legend of Arceus is starting to look like a Dark Souls take on Pokemon because
a little bit, right?
They have these what are called noble Pokemon now. Yeah, that guy looks badass.
What?
They have noble Pokemon now that fight you. They fight your ass out in the wild, and you have to defeat them. And I am loving everything about this. So I hope to see some more badass, brand new Pokemon. It looks like they're gonna slowly leak out more and more new stuff or new evolutions.
That's for Arceus?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. It seems like they're finally doing a bunch of fan service for those Pokemon that only have one evolution, right? And like the Tauros, not the Tauros, the Stantler and the Scythers. Scyther technically had a evolution
he had
with
Scizor.
But that was But
I like Scizor, but it's just
seems
not
like
Scyther.
Scissor's. I like him better than Scyther, but they're both pretty badass. Yeah. Anyways, so this game is starting to show that Nintendo's actually listening to the older group. I think this is what they're aimed at with the stuff that they're introducing.
I'm going into this game really blind. I'm not keeping up with it at all, but I'm very excited for it. And I keep forgetting that it's literally right around the corner. It's not that far away.
The latest video confirms that this is just a copy paste of Breath of the Wild. Look it up. It's very, very similar,
and that's okay.
Everything.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's literally people
follow a game. Why not?
Literally, people said, "I want a Breath of the Wild Pokemon," and they said, "You know what? We can do that."
It still looks like booty hole graphically, but I'm hoping that within the next few months they iron out some.
Yeah, probably not gonna happen.
Hopefully, but not gonna happen. But yeah. Anyways, Scyther has an evolution. Cleaver.
That's gonna be nuts.
Yeah. And it's pretty cool. Like I said, Scyther being my favorite Pokemon. So I'm excited. The more videos I see on the Pokemon, it's more intriguing, like Yendi said, and I'm more like, okay, I didn't expect you guys to do this, but you did it. And now I'm a little more excited. I just don't want to get to the point where I'm excited and the game comes out, it's trash, and then I'm disappointed.
Just don't baby us. I don't want you to I don't want the game to baby us and be like, oh,
well, it's not. It's for kids. So
I know, but like, I mean, even as a kid, it wasn't as
but games back then were way different than games are now.
It's just stats difference, man.
It's just way.
I mean,
different.
I like all your Pokemon level up, but like the rare candies, all that stuff, they come into play very easily now. It's like, come on.
It is what it is. So games are just not what they used to be. Because now people complain that game's too hard. So
yeah, they ruined My Little Pony. Like My Little Pony has been ridiculous lately. Crazy.
We're gonna move on to our next story, which is Netflix buys its first indie. It buys its first studio. Actually, it buys an indie game studio, Night School Studio. This story is actually by CNET, and it's CNET by Joanne E. Salzman. It says Netflix. It says acquiring Night School, which has worked with Netflix before. God has worked with Netflix before on a Stranger Things game and is one of the streaming service's biggest steps yet into early gaming initiative. All right, that was funny. I mean, I just couldn't get the word out. I'm just like,
I just saw you kept going. You restarted it would just keep coming out. You're like,
it just the same way, It just happens. This is live, y'all. This is what you get when you watch it live, and I'm not gonna edit it out. So whatever. But anyway, Netflix has acquired Night School Studios, the indie game developer and publisher said in a blog post Tuesday. The move is part of Netflix's effort to make video games part of its standard subscription. It says Night School has a resume of melding gaming with TV. It developed a mobile game based on the television show series Mr. Robot in 2016, a widely praised viral marketing campaign. Night School is also known for its game Oxenfree, which I've heard things about. I've never played it. It also has a history with Netflix. Night School worked on a game for related to Stranger Things that was married by development drama with other studios. So my question to you guys is, does Netflix have a chance to thrive in the gaming market?
No, absolutely not. No, they've just recently only made profit for the first quarter and since forever. They have put, I think, $11 billion or $11.7 billion towards their streaming stuff, and they still know they're not going to make a profit. In order for them to succeed, they have to make a AAA game that people talk about, that is well known everywhere. All they can do is make indie games that will be forgotten after a few months, just like most of these indie games, unless it's like a Hades or like a I guess Undertale, which apparently is a good indie game, but no, absolutely not, man.
Okay.
It's just not gonna happen unless they pour a lot more money into it. And having already put $11 billion towards their streaming stuff, I don't see this taking precedent over their streaming stuff. Like, great, you're getting all I will see is some cheap mobile game that will be released on the Switch mainly, I bet, right? That's all I'm gonna see. It doesn't say anything about Nintendo here, but I bet you that's gonna be the perfect console for these Netflix games. Xbox and PlayStation, I mean, nobody's gonna play them unless you're like a diehard indie fan. No way. There's no way. It's not gonna happen. They're gonna drop it in like a year or two.
Chris, what do you think about do you think Netflix has a chance to thrive in the gaming market?
Oh man. No. The only way they would be able to do it for me would be the what is it called? The Telltale games. Telltale. Sorry, not Telltale. If they took over Telltale games, and because they already did it, right, with the what is it? The Bear Grylls thing, and then what was the other one?
The Bandersnatch? The interactive movies?
Yeah. So like if they did that, but with like something that doesn't deal with their shows, like I would totally love to see like, hey, we have what was it, like Tales from the Borderlands was one of my favorites, and if they did a small series on that, like oh, we have this over here that you can play, and I think that's where they would be able to succeed. Just stick to that realm, stick to the entertainment and telling stories. I don't think they need to make a gaming. No, it's just not going to work out, man. You're trying to do movies also, which the movies lately, like the ones that are coming out pretty soon, look fantastic. I can't wait to see them. But yeah, they should not they should not go into this area. They're going to lose a lot of money. So
they've already started because they're already buying studios. So yeah, it's thing. I just was more
happy the studios made their money. They get to finish their game and everything like that. You get to do your thing, but. Yeah, for Netflix as a whole, though, it's going to be something.
I agree with Yendi said. Pretty much they would need a big, memorable game. But we all know it only takes one. Because right now, and I mean, it's still early, but I mean, Amazon got into the gaming business, and they just released New World. So, and a lot of people are going in to play that game. So,
well, didn't they have a whole bunch of failures too, though?
But that's what I mean.
Okay.
So,
I was about to say,
you can't base it off of just your you can't base it off of them just failing. Because yes, they had like Crucible was a big failure, and
I forgot about that game.
I forgot. Yeah. Well, I mean, that
game
Amazon? No longer exists. You know what I mean? Crucible no longer exists anyway. So what I'm saying is, these are like. Now that Netflix is getting into gaming, it only takes one major game to kind of get their ball rolling. And Amazon, like I said, has after all its failures, has New World, which a ton of people are going into it. A ton of people are starting to are playing it. It's like number one everywhere, pretty much. It's the number one game on Steam right now. So
can you fish
whether
in
they
New
can
World?
keep Yes, you can.
Okay, I'm
Right?
buying it. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So,
continue.
but yeah, so it only takes one. So I'm not going to say they can't. I will say though that the likelihood of them thriving is very difficult because this is a really tough market to get people to actually move forward, and you need to release games at the right time, and just need a game that people are willing to go buy, like actually willing to pay for Netflix in order to play. So I think it's going to be difficult for them, but if they can get, like Andy said, a really good AAA game that people are like all about, it only takes a few people to be like, yo, this Netflix game was amazing. And then a bunch of people will jump on it. So do I think they have a chance? Yes. Do I think it will happen? No.
They should just partner up with gaming companies and do short
Yeah, but
stories,
then
like short, they partner up with Apex, and then instead of you like trying to get the lore in the game, they're like, hey, here's a little bit of a sideshow,
no,
and here
but
you
all those
go.
companies, they want to make
Just
their
have
money their
Yeah.
way.
have
You know?
Netflix make the cutscenes.
Yeah,
Oh
cutscenes
yeah,
and
sure.
stuff. Yeah, that'd be pretty dope. Who knows? So, one of my other questions that revolve: do you like that all these big gaming? Do you like that all these companies that are not gaming are getting into gaming? Like, how do you guys feel about that? And how do you think it will affect the gaming industry as a whole?
I am not happy with it. It's just more big business getting their hands on what we enjoy, and it's just gonna lead. I feel like it's just gonna lead down to a path of more microtransactions and buying this subscription here, and you can only play this game through this, and it's just gonna be a mess. I don't like the
That
idea of it.
already though.
Yeah, I know. It's just gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. That's all
Yeah,
it
but
is.
that even with all that being the way it is, the gaming industry hasn't never been as big as it is now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for the indie scene and the what do you call them? Just the small party companies like what was that? The people that make Kena Bridge of Spirits game, or I think it's called like Game Lab or something like that. They're an independent group, and this is their first game, and it's doing well. So the fact that some of these guys are going to be able to get funding to finish their games and get the equipment they need to help finish those games, happy for them. But yeah, I think it's gonna be rough. I think at some point it's gonna be hard to get a game out, and then also for the consumer, it's just gonna be more of a headache.
Okay, Andy, what do you think?
It's a double-edged sword. It's good because these companies that don't know much about gaming come in and they want to make a big game, and they'll throw money at people. And one or two things can happen. One is that they do fund these smaller companies, and it drives innovation, right? These companies have this money now, and they can bring their ideas to life. Maybe it's something no one's ever done before and would never have come to light if it wasn't for the funding they receive from companies like Netflix. But then on the flip side of that is that Netflix would have all the publishing rights and probably the entire rights to that creative media that studio creates, and then they monetize it. They nickel and dime you. Microtransaction comes in, and then they ruin the innovation. And then here comes a different, bigger company, takes that same idea, does it better without all the extra bullshit attached to it, because that company knows that they know how to do a good PR with their games, right? Whereas a lot of Netflix, who's never done it, they won't know people hate microtransactions. They won't know what the big games are, what game modes are, what genres are in the are being played right now. They won't know all of that stuff that a bigger company would. They'll take advantage of that, and then eventually it'll just be a circle of life. They're going to continue on. It's just going to end up bad for everybody, but it could lead to some innovations like PUBG. If it wasn't for PUBG, we wouldn't be playing the games we'd be playing today. The streamers that we know today, we wouldn't be watching them probably, right? Think about it. So it's a good thing because of innovation, bad thing because of greedy executives.
Yeah, and I'm on the same fence as you with that. I think it's a good and bad thing. It's a good thing because, again, competition also drives things to be better. In most states, we will be getting more games and things like that. but it will cause people to like, oh, look at Netflix. They just came out with this really good game. Now we have to try to double that. And that'll be really good because a lot of jobs will open up and a lot of innovation, like Andy said, will happen. But I do think there is something to be said about just saturating the market also and having too many things, like you said, Chris, where you might need to have Netflix in order to get a game that you really want to play, or like you have to get Xbox in order to play a game that you want to play. And it kind of causes all of these, it causes pretty much what happened with TV, right? Where we have to go, like, you have to have like 8 subscriptions if you want to watch technically everything. You have to have Paramount Plus. You have to have Netflix. You have to have NBC, like, and it's pretty crazy. And that's where I don't want it to get to, because then it really, you're really stretching people's wallet thin. And then what ends up happening is that nobody gets to play your games because some people just completely alienate the game. Like if it's on Netflix and I have to pay an extra $15, and I don't have Netflix, then it's going to turn you off to that game, and you might actually shorten your fan base. You might actually not be able to make it as wide as you want it to be. So like Andy said, it's a double-edged sword. There's good that can come out of it. There's bad that can come out of it. But again, the problem is the gaming industry has never been as big. It does get a lot of promotion and a lot of media attention and marketing from these big companies because they want to get those games out. So I think it's a difficult thing to especially as people who have gamed for so long and we've had that little community and it watched it grow into something big. It's kind of hard to accept that also. Is like, man, this thing has really gone worldwide. So it is a double-edged sword for sure. So I don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm kind of excited and kind of nervous. So who knows what's next.
Yeah.
But yeah, so going into our last story of the day, we're going to talk about Spider-Man there's a rumor that the new Spider-Man game will be multiplayer. Now, if you guys, I don't know, did we stream that Sony? We didn't stream that Sony thing, did we?
Yeah, we did.
I don't think so.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we streamed that. And if you would have seen Chris and I, we were pretty hyped when we saw both of the Spider-Man, and we were like, hold on, is this multiplayer? And we kind of like, we're like, this better be multiplayer, because the way that the trailer and the cinematic looked, it kind of gave off that vibe. And now we have a rumor. Now, guys, this is a complete rumor. Don't take this as it's going to happen, because we don't know. But apparently someone in this article by Patrick Young said that there's going to be a big PS5 game that is a multiplayer game that is an exclusive to PS5, and it's being made by Insomniac. That was the information that was given. Not saying that, it is going to be Spider-Man, but when you kind of piece things together, Insomniac doesn't. What other game could it be? The only other game I thought it could be was Sunset Overdrive 2. But besides that, I'm thinking that it could be be Spider-Man. So with that being said, are you guys? Do you think this game being multiplayer opens up a brand new audience to people wanting to play this game together? And is it a game that you think will work with multiplayer?
Spider-Man Multiverse Smash Bros. Incoming. I'm calling it now.
What?
It's going to be a bunch of different Spider-Mans fighting each other, Smash Bros. Style, from all different universes.
Actually, that's not a bad game idea.
I don't think those would. I mean, how would that work with the web slinging and all that? And that would be a very intense game to render, I think, online especially. But I don't know, man. I feel like the draw of one of the draws of Spider-Man is being able to have that freedom to swing around and do your own thing. But if you're being capped by a world boundary because you can't get too far from the other player, I don't know.
I think it'd be dope if they just let you free roam, and then it's just like, hey, you guys can meet up and do missions together.
They could probably do it the way that the Division did it. So that's one of the good things about the Division that they did. You actually don't have to be with your person the whole time. But once you get into a mission or start a mission, you can actually be like, you want to matchmake and then do that mission together. And I think that would be cool, because being that you're like, it would be Miles and Peter there. It's cool because as soon as, if your friend wants to join, he would just become Miles or Peter or whoever he wants to play as, but it would only be for certain missions or mission types. So I think if they adopted that and you would still be able to roam free without any like anything happening to the game or being restricted like it used to be, I think that would be a cool way to work around that whole idea of making the game multiplayer.
Yeah, and then TKC said GTA style.
Oh, then that goes, yeah, but then that also goes to what you said, Yendi, where like that's a lot to like that's going to be a lot. You're pretty much creating another section of the game in order to make it fit into a multiplayer, and then you're fitting a bunch of missions and stuff. I mean, it would still be cool. I'd still be down for it, but I'm just saying it's very interesting. I find it interesting that that might be even an idea. But again, this is a rumor. No one knows. It's not confirmed. No one knows if this is the actual thing that's going to happen.
If anything, it'll come out in like 6-7 years because they're still working on Wolverine. If it is Insomniac,
it'll come out
Insomniac
first.
is working on both games though.
Yeah, 3 games. I thought it was 3. They have 3, right? Or no?
I know it's Wolverine and Spider-Man 2, but we haven't had any release dates.
Is this supposed to be like a feature of Spider-Man 2 or a separate Spider-Man game?
No, this is a different Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
So basically, because
it's got to be like almost 10 years down the line.
No. Because it's not. Because Spider-Man. So we had the Marvel Spider-Man came out 2018, 20 something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Around there, and then you had Miles Morales come out last year, and then so now I think not 2022, maybe 2023 we'll get Spider-Man 2.
Dang, it's been a year for Miles. That's crazy.
Yeah, because I mean, Miles came out in November when the Spider-Man that
was the first PS5 game I got. Yeah. And to be honest, it felt like a very nice DLC. So that's what it felt like. So it makes sense that this game was like right behind it. But whenever they announced it, everybody's like, "Wait, already? Like, what was going on?" So, but I think they said 20. I thought at the end of it said 2023. No.
Yeah, I think it'll be 2023. They didn't really say. Yeah, I think they did say.
I thought that was like at the end of the trailer.
But I think that's around the time. And I mean, honestly, the thing about Miles being like a glorified DLC, you would just have to make the story longer, I guess. But pretty much you're not going to change any of the mechanics of the regular Spider-Man game because it was perfect. So like, the only thing that you could have really done was give him a story. But besides that, I thought the regular Spider-Man was perfect and you really didn't need to change anything. So I get that. But
2023, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and then my next question for you guys was going to be, what one game that was a single player experience that you would have loved to have become a multiplayer? Like, there's just one game you could choose from that you played as a single player, but it seems like it would have been the perfect multiplayer. Like, but story driven multiplayer, not like, Grand Theft Auto where you're doing this whole thing. I want like you're both part of the story, you're playing it together.
Oh, Ratchet and Clank?
Yeah.
I guess. I can't think of anything else right now. Another single player game. Ooh, Mirror's Edge. Mirror's Edge would be cool. I think, well, isn't the second one? No. I think you could do like time trials and stuff like that. But yeah, Mirror's Edge. Which I know I feel like I'm the only fan of that game sometimes, but yeah.
there's a fan base for it because they made 2 of them. So there's definitely a fan base for it. Yendi, what do you think is a single player game that you would have worked as a multiplayer game on?
I mean, that's tough, man, because if it's a single player game, it's made that way for a reason. But
yeah, but taking all of that into consideration, if something that you could if you had another character, hinder the game.
My first thought was Skyrim, but at that point, it's just an MMO, kinda, right? Because it depends on how much people you can have in your game session. If it's just like a co-op thing, then yeah, I think that'd be great. But you would be attached at the hip because if you wanted to see the story, you'd have to be right there alongside your partner. So, I mean, yeah, then they would have to have something to appeal to both people, like a fishing or a farming, mode where someone can just go do other random stuff or focus on their own thing instead of just the number one thing being the story. I mean, you could do like a faction thing where one person tries to get to Grandmaster of the Mages Guild. And I don't know.
Is Dying Light a single player game or is that a multiplayer game? Because I never played those. Or I didn't play the first one.
Single player.
The online is single player, but
I feel
no,
like
you
that'd
can
be.
play it. You can play it as you can play with.
Yeah.
You can play with someone else. It's
I'm
just
sure
like
there's a long list of
Yeah.
games that we would,
I-
if we saw it, we'd be like, oh yeah.
yeah. For me, I think working a game story driven that would work perfectly would be Last of Us,
it is
the first
multiplayer.
one, because Last of Us would be perfect because you're actually following a linear path, and Ellie in the first one is with you most of the time until the scene where I won't spoil it, but what most of that time you're helping each other out and doing that kind of stuff. So I would have liked The Last of Us to be a game that you could have played multiplayer, because it would have been fun to have someone else experience that whole game with you. And then that scene that I'm talking about, once that happened, that player can't play. And that would have been really cool. Just like you're trying to, or that player had a timer on their screen that that's the time you need to go save them, or whatever the case.
To be part
Something
of it,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah, so I think Last of Us 2, Last of Us, the first one would have worked perfect as a multiplayer, because again, you can't go too far in that game, but because the game itself hinders you, so you would have to travel together at all times anyway. And it would have been cool because you would have been able to do different things to trick all the to trick the monsters and stuff like that. So you can make some really cool boss battles out of it. But for me, that's what game I would be like, you know what, that would work perfectly as a co-op multiplayer game.
I mean, apparently Last of Us 2, the multiplayer is still being worked
but
on.
they're not. It's gonna be like multiplayer, as in like it's gonna have different features. It's not gonna have it's not gonna be the campaign itself.
Okay.
Especially not part 2, because part 2 you don't really travel with.
They could Deathloop part 2.
Huh?
They could Deathloop part 2,
No, they
where you're
don't- they
hunting
don't
the
need
other
to do
person.
They don't need to do that. They don't need to do that. Last of Us 2 was fine.
It was great.
I love that game. It doesn't need that, no death loop, no none of that stuff. But I do want to play Deathloop. So, all right. Well, I think that's going to be the end for us, guys. Thank you for joining us again.
Probably Skyrim. Yeah, I'd say Skyrim. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
That was a good one. I was like, what? What are you doing here? But yeah, so thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for joining us on YouTube for the first time. If you guys did join us on that, be sure to hit the like button, do the sharing. We're still doing the mouse giveaway at 100 subs. So
let us give you stuff, man.
Yeah,
we got a whole bunch of stuff to give away.
Tell your mom, tell your dad, tell everybody. You know what I mean? Just go ahead and hit that sub button, hit the notification bell so you know when all our videos come out and all that good stuff. So I have nothing else this week. We have the LPF debrief that's coming out. We're going to give you guys 2 episodes. We have Venom and we have the What If episode. So do you guys have anything you want to close out with?
Be sure to go check out our latest one on Visions. If you haven't seen Star Wars Visions, highly recommend it. If you can, please watch it in Japanese. If you watch it in English, I've talked to people at work about this, and they were like, yeah, I thought it was okay. I'm like, what you watch it in? And they're like, English. I was like, go back.
No.
Watch it in Japanese. It's way different. And I'm like, I'm it doesn't matter to me. Like, I watch both subbed and dubbed, but this one deserves to be in Japanese. There's a lot more emotion, and it's more powerful that way. And sure enough, there's people right now that I convinced to go see it in Japanese, and they're like, yeah, man, it's actually a lot. It's way better. So it's way better.
But yeah, consume your anime any way you want. But I agree.
It's just some anime that
Yen, you got anything you want to close us out with?
No, I think we're good.
All right. Well, until next week.